What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HoopLifeTV Podcast. My name is Jordan Daly, and with me, as always, I have Michael White, Stacey Collier, and Ben Okazawa. Say what's up, guys.
What's going on? Let's get it. Let's get it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
All right, I apologize for missing last week. I listened to the episode, and there were some matchups on my way. You guys have heard about it. Man, my Celtics got robbed, but it's all right. We're going to get some vengeance tonight. But yeah, I apologize for the lack of setup. I'm on vacation in South Carolina this week, so not in my normal setup. I'm sitting on a bed with no back and no good mic, so cut me some slack on that. But we got a loaded episode, so we're just going to get right into it, starting with Carmelo Anthony. Recently had an interview. I'm going to let Mike explain this a little bit, so Mike, take it away.
Yeah, so basically, Carmelo Anthony had a one-on-one interview with Stephen A. Smith. And basically what you got from the interview is Carmelo Anthony basically telling everybody how he's in a better place now, how that his time away from basketball, he's really gotten a chance to, take a step back, look at things, see where he is, look at the league, and really just, try to adjust. The biggest problem that Carmelo's been happening is no one wants to teach, an aging superstar. No one wants to coach that because they're hard to coach, and, they don't really know when they've lost it, even though they may have been talented at one time. So basically he came out there to basically clear his name and say, hey, I'm ready to, commit as long as I'm told what my role is going to be from the start. And that was one of his issues with how it ended in OKC and Houston. He was never told at any of these places that he'd be coming off the bench. So that kind of, I guess messed with his emotions, checked his ego. That's exactly what he said, a direct quote. So basically, he put himself out there, and I think he's ready to try to integrate himself back in the league.
So what are your thoughts on that, whole interview? Do you think he was kind of playing like a pity card, trying to get some attention again, or do you think he was pretty genuine and pretty honest about the?
Honestly, I think he was genuine. It seemed pretty surreal, and I think that he meant everything he said. And I think ultimately, he's a guy who looks at other guys in his class, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and these guys have rings already. And I think he wants to get that done for himself. He wants that added to his belt. He was such a great player, and I think he's willing to take any role at this point to try and win a ring.
What about you, Stacey?
I like the interview from Melo. I thought the interview was very well detailed in self-actualization. I can tell that he's at the point now where he wants a championship ring and he's willing to do whatever it takes, whether that is come off the bench or even start for a contending NBA team. Melo, I don't think that he fell off. I think that he was just placed in bad situations. Like, first of all, OKC, he was like a fish out of water. He didn't really fit in to the mold. You had Russell Westbrook and you had Paul George. I don't think he was that comfortable being the third star, the third option on the team. And him with the Rockets, it was just a terrible ending, a premature ending, I would say, for a team he was on that he once again didn't fit in. And I think that he didn't get a fair shot with the Rockets. So I think Melo has been treated unfairly a bit in the NBA just because of his stature and just because of his motives. One questionable thing we have about Melo is, does he care about winning or does he care about scoring? And I think that's had haunted him throughout his career. But, Melo is a great player in his own right. He's one of the most talented scorers, one of the most talented players we have seen in recent memory in the NBA. He's just as talented as everybody that came out in the draft class with him. His motivation was questioned a bit, throughout his career. But, he's just as talented. He's just as talented. He can put up LeBron-type numbers if he wants to. But I hope that he gets another shot in the NBA and finishes his career on a positive note.
So let me ask you this. If he was put on a team like, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Kings, a lower tier team, do you think things would be different for him now?
If he was put on a lower tier team now,
or back then instead of like the Rockets or the Thunder who had other weapons, like Russ or Harden.
I think he'll he would find himself in between a rock and a hard place. That's how it was his whole career with the Denver Nuggets and the New York Knicks. With the Nuggets, he didn't get along with George Karl, the coach that was there at that time. And then with the Knicks, when you go to the Knicks, you find out how dysfunctional they really are. So, him being with a lower tier team, he would have done his thing if he was there earlier. But, at the end of the day, I think Melo, he wants to win. He wants to win, and he just need to find the right team and the right coach to bring that out of him.
All right, Ben, I'm going to move it over to you. What do you think? Do you think he was pretty genuine in the interview? How do you feel about how he kind of handled himself in that?
Well, I hope that he was being genuine, because that was a big problem that I had with Melo, and it's something that his former teammate with the Nuggets, Chauncey Billups, said in an interview recently himself, is that Melo's biggest issue and the biggest reason why Melo's not playing in the league now is that he's more focused on scoring 30 than getting his team a win. And that was, I think, a big issue for him. Obviously, I don't know this for a fact, but it's sort of from what I've heard and how he's carried himself in recent years is in Houston and in OKC, he was too focused on being one of their main guys as opposed to taking whatever role the team wanted him to take in order for them to succeed. So if he's being genuine, then I think he definitely deserves another chance in the league. If he's willing to take whatever role the team will put him in, as long as they let him know beforehand, and I think that's fair, because he definitely is still talented enough to play in the league. Like, it's not like he doesn't have the talent or the drive or the skill level to play basketball at a high level. It's just that now he has that kind of reputation that teams are uncertain about him. But I think if he was being genuine in this interview, and if he was being serious about taking any role that the team offered him and playing with any team, regardless of whether they're small market or big market, I think it would be he deserves another shot in the league for sure.
So I know you brought this up. So I definitely agree with your point where his mentality definitely was a little off in the past. I remember hearing reports as well that his mood after the game wasn't dependent on if they won or lost. It was more dependent on if he dropped like 30 points or had a good game personally. He never really seemed to care about the success as a team. It was more the success of an individual. So definitely a good point that you brought up, and questioning that genuineness of the interview. But this begs the question of, do you think he will ever play again? And we'll start with you, Ben.
I do. I think this whole little press thing that he's been doing, not only just the First Take interview, but things that other people have been saying. I think it was Chris Brickley, the NBA trainer, who had a lot to say about him. He was the guy who was talking about the farewell tour, which, Melo did deny in the interviews, you said, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, so Melo denied that, but I think that's where I first saw Melo's name pop back up, was in an Instagram post of Chris Brickley talking about, or an NBA trainer talking about how Melo's ready to come back to the league and he'll take any role. And that kind of got my gears turning, thinking to myself that maybe if that's real and he's being authentic in that he'll come back in any capacity for any team, then I think he definitely could play again as long as the teams believe him. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he's back in an NBA jersey next season.
Stacey, what about you?
I think Melo's going to play again. Somebody's going to give him a shot, but the biggest question for me is who? Where exactly is he going to go? He said that he wants to take on any role with any team, but he also wants to win. And most of the teams that are in position to get a championship, their rosters are pretty full right now. So where is he going to go exactly? So it looks like he might go to one of those mid to lower tier teams in the NBA for a year and see if he can redeem himself in the minds of the public. And then next season, maybe he'll sign on to a contending team for the last couple to few years in his career. But I think he's going to get a shot, and he should get another shot.
So you think he has multiple years left?
Yeah, I think he has multiple years of. He looks like he's still in good shape. He can contribute right away for any team that he faces. He can provide scoring, and I think he'll be motivated to emphasize other areas of the game at like rebounding and passing. So yeah.
So if you're Melo in this situation, what's your motivation to keep playing? Do you want to play just because you love the game, or do you want to play to get that ring?
Honestly, both. He loves the game. He's been working out. He's been hitting the gym. We seen videos of Hoodie Melo and all that stuff. And of course he wants to win. He's at that point in his career now. Like, all I need for real is a ring. I got everything else. I'm going into the Hall of Fame one day. He is going to the Hall of Fame one day, whether people like it or not. All I need on my resume is a ring, one ring.
I would agree. All right, Mike, what about you?
So to the question, will he play in the league again? I think he'll definitely play in the league. A lot of these teams are waiting out for like an Andre Iguodala. Someone's going to lose out on that, and they're going to have to fill that roster space. And I think Melo can come in and, like you said, Stacey, provide scoring for a team. Definitely a contender, because you never know. And, I'll use the Lakers just for an example. But what if we sign Melo and you have a night where Anthony Davis is in foul trouble, LeBron's not carrying the load, and Kuzma's not hitting? He's still young and might be inconsistent. Maybe Melo can come and provide a moment, maybe big time in the playoffs, things like that. I think the biggest issue with Melo is the defensive side of the ball. You're going to have to cover ground for him. He's never really been known as much of a defender, and now he's definitely older, a little bit less athletic, so you're going to have to cover ground for that. But I think he ends up on a team that could use some scoring. And even if it doesn't happen right before the season starts, around trade deadline, buyouts and things of that nature, guys get hurt, so I think he'll get an opportunity this year. It may not be right away, but I think he has a good 2 years left of being able to score at above average level.
Okay. A team, like, it comes down to what Stacey says is, yeah, I think he deserves to play in the league again, but what team can afford to take him right now? And I kind of relate to what Mike said as well, is it's going to come down to the end where seeing where those last kind of few pieces move around and kind of see that. But a team I think Melo would do really well on, and obviously I don't know like how many roster spots each team has left, so let's just assume they have an open roster spot, even if they don't. The New Orleans Pelicans, I feel like he could make an impact as a mentor as well with all the young talent they have on that team. So I think that would be a good team for him to get there. Obviously they're in a rebuilding phase, so he may not get that ring right away, but under Zion, there's a chance that in a year, 2, maybe 3, if he's there for that long, they could be a contender. There is a pretty good chance of that. So I feel like the New Orleans Pelicans could be a good spot for him, especially if he wants to go get that ring. Maybe not the first year, but a little bit down the road if he's willing to stay in the league and put the effort in for that long. But speaking of other guys in the league, and filling those rosters, Draymond Green, Golden State Warriors, just got a max contract. It was 4-year, $100 million contract. It has a player option on the final year, and they also added a 15% trade kicker, which is the max the CBA allows. And what a trade kicker is, for those of you who don't know, is so if Draymond Green gets traded, the Warriors have to pay him 15% more of his contract, which is going straight to Draymond's pocket. So it's pretty much, as we were talking about this earlier, it's pretty much as Mike would say, the Warriors aren't trading him.
Yeah.
So it's pretty close to like a no trade clause, but if they're desperate and they want to trade him, they still have that option. But
yeah,
let's kind of talk about Draymond Green for a sec. He's definitely a grit and grind type guy, and he's one of those guys where if he's on your team, you love him, but if he's not, you hate him. He's kind of like Boston's version of Marcus Smart. So do you think he's earned that money? We'll start with you, Mike.
I think he's definitely earned that money. He's been a defensive player of the year. He has 3 rings to his name. He's, a part of the outside of Steph, one of the main cogs of how that offense has been successful and how it works, with his playmaking, with his defense, his ability to switch onto big men and then switch out to guards and wings. Draymond Green is definitely deserved of that. He stuck it out with there. He's gotten better every year. And even this year, during the regular season, when he kind of dipped off in production, we saw in the playoffs, he ticked it right back up, started hitting open shots again. So he's definitely been important in this, dynasty that Golden State had. And he's definitely a main cog. So he deserves that money. And once Kevin Durant left, that just pretty much inked the deal. He was going to get that money. So, hey, I'm glad he got it. He definitely well deserved it. 3-time champ.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I mean, after KD left, they needed Draymond. Like, without Draymond, they're nothing. They have no height. So, Ben, what are your thoughts?
I think, you can say what you want about Draymond, and obviously he's not the most likable player in the world, especially if you're a Cavs fan or an OKC fan or, fan of any team who's gone up against him in the past and suffered some controversial moments at his expense or because of him. But, he's one of the more important players on that team, especially with Clay now being out until later in the season. You've got Steph and you've got D'Angelo, but you don't know how D'Lo's going to fit in at this point. So I think at this point, Draymond could be considered the second most important player on that Golden State Warriors team. And they're still, regardless of what happened last year and losing KD and Clay's injured, the Warriors will always be a contender because you have no clue what Steph and Draymond are going to do now that they're the main people on that team. And something I just want to quickly point out about Golden State that, they get a lot of hate for picking up Kevin Durant, but they won championships before that without KD. And I'm getting a little bit off track now, but I feel like Golden State doesn't get enough credit for home growing their franchise. Steph Curry was a draft pick, Klay Thompson was a draft pick, and Draymond Green was a second-round draft pick. So if you're gonna talk about KD, just consider that first. Sorry, but that's me getting off track. Something I wanted to address because I've been hearing a lot of Golden State Warriors hate in the past couple of years, and that's something that's always been on my mind. But just to bring it back to the main point, Draymond Green is easily one of the three most important players on the Golden State Warriors team, and he definitely deserves that money regardless of how you feel about him as a person.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. It's definitely a completely new-look Warriors team. I mean, in recent history, they've been completely dominant at every starting position on the court, and now it's kind of just Steph, D'Lo, and Draymond. And, looking at the other teams in the NBA, it's a league of duos. A couple teams have trios, so they are kind of right in there with everyone else. It's not the Warriors over everyone else now. So definitely even playing field. Stacey, what are your thoughts on Draymond Green and the contract?
He deserved this contract. He's the reason why the Warriors have been successful. He's been their secret but not so secret weapon, so to speak. First of all, he's the reason why they won their first ring that they had. And he's a multi-dimensional player. He allows them to run freely off the ball, and he is very valuable. I mean, he brings up the ball, he plays hard on defense, and he's very, very motivational for their team. So, and then he is the second most important player on the team. He's not considered. He is. Yeah. Like without Draymond Green, especially defensively, I don't know where the Warriors would be. And them re-signing Draymond Green for the max contract, that makes them first still a playoff team. They still a playoff contender. And they also have saved their franchise for the next few years. Now you have Steph in place. You have Clay in place. You have Draymond Green now in place. You might keep D'Angelo Russell. And then that's going to make them attractive for free agents to come. Maybe not a top-tier free agent, given all the money they have placed on those four players, but a nice role player could come right in, fit on with the team, and keep the Warriors franchise going. So it was a great move by the Warriors, and Draymond Green, he deserves the money.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, he's been a grit and grind type guy. He's going to get dirty on that court. He's diving all around. He absolutely deserves that money. Anyone that says otherwise, I think one of you guys said this, is kind of just wrong. He's worked hard, so good for you, Draymond. Make that money. We were talking about first take a little bit earlier. I think Ben brought them up, but we're going to keep them in discussion. Recently, on First Take, they discussed an All-NBA decade team. So the first team, second team, third team. So we're going to talk about those at first. And then obviously what's coming next is, Max Kellerman's comments. But we'll start with the third team. I see Mike, he's salty as a Lakers fan. But we'll start with the third team. We had LaMarcus Aldridge, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Paul George. We'll start there. I'll open this up to anyone. Just because this is the third team, we'll get more in depth on the first team and kind of after that, see if there's any movements. General thoughts on the third team, anyone?
I have something to say about the third team. I'm not seeing Tim Duncan anywhere in here. And I guess Tim, he was drafted in 98. And he had definitely some good years with the Spurs before this decade, but he was putting LaMarcus Aldridge above Tim Duncan is to me a reach.
I would agree. I saw LaMarcus on that list and I was like,
that was the most I have them pulled up here, and that was the most glaring thing to me is why is LaMarcus Aldridge there?
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of guys I can name over him, but Tim Duncan, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Is this for the 2010s?
2010 right? To I guess now.
Yeah, now. I don't know Tim Duncan. LaMarcus Aldridge is a bit of a head scratch. I mean, he's good, but I don't know about third team. And then
when did Duncan retire?
2016, I want to say.
16.
I wonder if maybe they just left him out because his better years were probably like 2000, 2010.
Yeah, that's why I think they left him out.
But still, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah. I think they went more with production.
Yeah,
as far as stats, it's definitely
Tim
stats.
Duncan was still, a key piece on a championship team in 2014, though.
Right. Yeah, that is true. LaMarcus.
I kind of got that though. I kind of got questions about. This might be a bit of a hot take right here, a bit of a reach, but Giannis Antetokounmpo on this team, all decade team. He only had like 2 or 3 years of dominance. Is that worth a decade team?
He deserves it, dude.
No, I was just asking a question. I mean,
you know what? That's a fair point to bring up.
It is. I mean, he got to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Before this year, had they made it past the first round? Had they yet? I don't think they had made it past the first round. So that's why I think they're factoring. They got to be factoring in production at this point. He also has an MVP to his name. All-Stars, obviously. So.
Even if you look at production, though, it's like what 2017 to now, 2018 to now.
It's like 20, 2016, 2017 to now. I mean, that's 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
But then at the same time, like, who are you going to put there instead of?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Who are you going to replace him with? Now, we already said you're going to have the argument for Tim Duncan, but who are you going to take off who can match, who can beat that production-wise?
Yeah.
I might have to get back on y'all about that. I gotta do my research.
I do some research.
But I'm pretty sure it's somebody from 2010 on to now that can replace him.
So they got Kobe on the third team.
Yeah, that surprised me. I saw his name. I was like, Kobe on a third team. That just doesn't sound right.
But you know what? When I seen it, I didn't react like some people reacted because I was considering. They said 2010.
Yeah.
To 2019. So if you're counting the 2010 championship, okay, he got a ring. But after that, that was unfortunately the decline years. He was good for another year after that, but then the Achilles tear happened. He was injured for a lot of it. So I guess I can kind of understand putting him all the way down to third team, even though he's probably better than everybody on the second team.
I was going to say, I'm going to rebuttal this real quick. I'm going to list off the second team right now. We got Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Blake Griffin. You mean to tell me that Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook are better than Kobe Bryant?
And Dwayne Wade.
Oh, hell no. I don't mean to tell you none of that. Hey, don't get it twisted now.
Going back to Kobe, I mean, 2010 to 2015, 16 was his final year. Here we go. 2010, he averaged 25.3 points. 2011, 27.9. 2012, 27.3. And then 2014 was his last year scoring over 20 with 22.3. And that's third team? That's third? Come on now. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe for Russ or Kobe for CP3. And then D Wade for either of them either. Like,
Yep.
I'm sorry, dude. But the other name that was glaring to me at second team, Blake Griffin.
Yeah, Blake. Yeah.
What did Blake Griffin do?
It's the All-Stars in the 21 and 9 and 5 assists. Hey,
what did he do?
He
did give birth to Loud City and brought back the Clippers from dead. So
all right, we're gonna watch the brought back them because what did he bring them to?
A bunch of playoff losses.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, at least they was there.
I mean, injuries played. Let's not act like injuries played a big role in that. Except I give them no excuses for losing to the Rockets when they was up 3-1, I think, and like Josh Smith and Corey Brewer went off in the playoffs. I don't give him a pass for that. But Chris Paul was either injured or Blake Griffin was either injured. It was always some kind of injury stuff with them, which sucks. But hey,
what I'll say about Blake too is that he was drafted in 2011. So it's not like, let's not pretend like Blake isn't a high level player. Agreed. Especially with the three where it is right now. And obviously we don't want to be those people that see a guy shooting unguarded threes like Ben Simmons shooting in pickup games and freaking out. But with his three developing at the rate that it is, and if you factor in his performance from 2011 to now, like he's been doing it pretty much the entire decade, whereas some of these guys like Giannis have only been doing it for a couple of years.
But what about Paul George?
Is Paul George on second team or third team?
He's on third team.
He's on the third team.
I would most definitely put Paul George above Blake Griffin. Swap them.
I think Paul George is better than Blake Griffin, obviously, but I think statistically Blake Griffin's stats might be more all around.
Yeah. And Blake Griffin just came off perhaps maybe his best season of his career last year.
Yes, he did have a good season last year.
Underappreciated, just where he is, you know.
I always like when he started getting injured a lot. I always thought he was there was an argument he could be one of the best power forwards in the game. You know what I'm saying? And now that his shot has gotten better, if he can stay healthy, puts together a full season, a guy who can shoot like that, who also has the ability to score inside if his defense stays up with it, I think he can get back in that conversation.
Okay, and I've been thinking, so I'm going to go back to third team. I'm going to take a step back. Two guys I thought of that I would take over LaMarcus Aldridge, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Love.
I was just thinking Kevin Love, like while y'all
was in their prime?
Considering their entire time from 2010 to 2019.
I would definitely put DeMarcus Cousins in there.
DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Love over LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, give me Boogie. Boogie was like...
Think about Kevin Love in Minnesota. In his earlier years at Cleveland. Oh, yeah.
Because obviously I'm considering Boogie at his peak, so obviously I would take that. Yeah, okay, I can agree with that.
Yep.
Sorry for jumping back. I was just going through my head, and I was like, wow.
No, those were both good picks. Probably better than Tim Duncan too, considering he was older.
Yeah, and just
in these 2010s.
Like do these because it's like you have to like cut them off at 2010, and you can't really think about their previous years. So that's definitely something interesting. Got to kind of keep in mind that it's not all time teams.
And that's why people reacted the way they did to Kobe.
For sure. I mean,
they're thinking about
a third team is not normal, you know.
Yeah.
All right, but we'll finish off with the first team here with Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. Mike, I see you're nodding your head. Tell me what's up.
Honestly, the only problem I had with this first team, and I'm a fan. Most people aren't fans of James Harden. I'm a fan, but it's just weird seeing him on the first team considering everyone else on the first team has rings. You know what I mean? So
very true.
It's just I think James Harden should have been down on the second team, and you could have booted someone there off from the third team and vice versa. It's just now that I'm trying to think who could I replace him with on the first team, though, because nobody on that second team I would like to replace him with. And then if you want to find rings, you have to go all the way down to the third team. I mean, we could put Kobe there.
Yeah.
I don't have no problem. But nah, I just it was just weird to see Harden's name up there. But his stats have been like crazy.
I have no problem with the first team. I think this is dead on, spot on.
So my thing is, like, I love Harden. I think he's a great player, but also, and this may be considered a hot take, if you didn't win a ring, what did you really do in the NBA? You know? I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, but...
I mean, ain't this tailored more to the individual?
Yeah, it is.
So,
but
like,
I mean,
individual
have
accolades?
things to do
Yeah, that's
with
true.
rings. I mean, you tell me that LeBron James individually didn't earn his ring. I would say every single one he got in Cleveland was all because of him alone.
Yeah.
You know, Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors, Ben, you're a Raptors fan, so maybe you'll agree with me. Without Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors did not get that ring.
Oh, by 1 million
You know what I mean?
%.
Like, these guys
Without
got
Kawhi Leonard, the Raptors aren't making it past the second round.
These guys got their team's rings.
I mean, LeBron was with the Heat for those
that's
few
why
years. So like he had like a more of a team thing
but he still
going
got
there
them
with
in
them.
Cleveland though, and he was all by himself in Cleveland.
It still rings factor into a player's greatness regardless.
For sure.
Which is why the argument with LeBron versus Jordan is 6 rings versus 3 rings.
Yeah. We won't even get into that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A whole different can of worms. But listen, what I'll say about this list, and no one called me salty because Kawhi left us, but I don't know if Kawhi, I could say the same thing for Kawhi as I did for Giannis. Kawhi's been great since, 2017? That season where Zaza injured him, I think was his first all-around great season. Obviously, in defense in years before, he won the Finals MVP in 2014, and he deserved it. But he was averaging south of 20 points per game at that time.
Yeah, 16.5.
Yeah.
So let me rebuttal that real quick, and this is how me and my friends always talk about it.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard is often underthought of. He just doesn't get thought of a lot. You put Joel Embiid's attitude onto Kawhi Leonard, and people are talking about Kawhi in 2010. If Kawhi Leonard was more vocal and more like trash talk and more, just like down people's throats, I feel like people would have been talking about him much earlier than 2017. I feel like he had that skill, but he just kind of always kept to himself and kind of hushed up. But I don't know, man. You put Joel Embiid's attitude on him, this is a whole different conversation.
Yeah. That's a fair point, and I still don't have a problem with Kawhi being on there. It was just something that jumped out to me at first, and then I'm thinking about who am I putting there instead of Kawhi? And I'm looking at the second team, I'm looking at the third team, and I'm not comfortable bringing any of those guys up. But you definitely raised a good point. That's something I think a lot of people need to think about, myself included.
So let me ask this. Another name that I was kind of surprised to see, maybe this is just the inner Celtic fan in me, Kevin Garnett.
Nah, I think he was done by 20. He was with the Timberwolves, but he wasn't really doing anything.
Fair.
I think
They got to a Western Conference Finals. He was MVP, I believe. They lost to the Lakers. Other than that, not till he got with the Celtics and they won that one championship.
But we're talking 2010s, though.
Yeah, true.
2010s, it was a bit of a rough ending for him.
Yeah, that one.
I'd say as soon as he went to Brooklyn, which was in 2013, he was fading. I wouldn't say he was done because that was a good team. They only made it to the second round of the playoffs.
Like I said, it's probably I'm a Celtics fan. There's no.
Yeah, they started to fade out right in the 2010, right after they lost to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Then LeBron finally became a man, left, went to the Heat. And they finally pulled the plug on it.
I don't blame you for saying KG though. Like that was the thought that popped into my head when I saw LaMarcus Aldridge was Kevin Garnett. But that's the thing about this list that we have been saying is that you always think about their career as a whole.
Yeah.
And Kevin Garnett was great especially into that championship in 2008 for the Celtics. But I don't know if I can put him above anyone as far as the 2010s.
Okay. I just feel Paul George was slept on in these seasons.
Yes, I agree with that. I think you can swap him and Blake.
Easily.
Yeah.
And there could probably be arguments for him and Harden. Neither of them have a ring, right?
Yeah.
Right. But production-wise, Paul George is nowhere near James Harden.
He just came out 36 points per game average.
Yeah.
I don't think
production-wise, Paul George just not touching the ball that much either.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. Well, we still have one more year left before or half a season, I guess. Before these teams get finalized, I guess. So we'll watch beginning of next season, see if any of these change, and we can comment on it halfway through the season. But for now, we'll move right back into our bracket challenge. As I mentioned earlier, I missed last week. I regret that. My teams got robbed.
Listen, man, nothing would have been different if you were there. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, I could have maybe got to a coin flip, right? Coin flip, and then I don't know, but
and then you guys could have cheated your little coin flip again. Yeah.
That was Mike.
Hey man, I just went with the flow.
Funny thing is, no one could deny it though. No one knew. But for those of you who don't know, the biggest thing I was upset about was the matchup was the 97-98 Utah Jazz versus 65-66 Celtics. What was the vote again, guys?
Unanimous.
It was
unanimous. I made sure it was unanimous. Revenge.
Oh no.
2 weeks ago.
So I couldn't have even got it to a coin flip. It would have been 3-1. That's upsetting. And then the other one was the 07-08 Celtics versus 16-17 Golden State Warriors. There's nothing I would have done about that. I would agree that 16-17 Golden State Warriors would do that. I'm trying to see if there were any other matchups I had. I don't think so. I mean, okay, here's one. I had the 2011-2012 Heat versus Ben's 88-89 Pistons.
That was the week you were there.
That was?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yep, you're right. Okay, disregard that. But yeah, I guess we'll start that. We'll finish the second round today. Looks like there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matchups. So we'll bang through those and finish the episode, I guess, for this week. But yeah, if you missed the first couple episodes, the rules are we each picked 8 teams all time. And we put them in a bracket, randomized them, and started debating to find the best team of all time, I guess you could say. And so far, we finished round 1, and now we're on to round 2 with 8 matchups left. So the first matchup of the second round is going to be Ben's 2010-2011 Mavericks versus Stacey's 96-97 Bulls. Yeah.
Listening. Don't even try to get me to say anything.
All right, Michael Jordan's gonna run the floor here.
Yeah.
We don't even need to do anything else. 96.
Move them on.
Moving on down.
All right, and to who will be losing to the 96-97 Bulls in the next round? We have, and this is a good matchup. We've been looking forward to this one. We have these are both my teams. We have the 86-87 Lakers versus the 85-86 Celtics. Mike, let's start with you.
I'm gonna go with my Lakers. You know, Magic Johnson, Kareem, Michael Cooper, AC Green, Byron Scott. I'm going with them boys, man. I gotta stick up for my Lakers. It's your team you picked, but I'm going with them Lakers.
All right, Ben. What about you?
Oof.
And we don't need to vote now. Right now, we can just kind of debate it and put it to a vote later on.
This is a classic matchup. For sure. You had Bird versus Magic. Man.
Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Bill Walton, Daniel
Pat Riley coaching,
Rick Carlisle.
Oh, this is so hard.
And the Lakers won the championship that year.
This is easy. Okay, so did the Celtics, if we want to get technical. 7-15, coached by KC Jones.
You'll take Pat Riley.
Come on. They only allowed the opponent 104 points per game, which was the third in the NBA. They scored 114 with 8th in the NBA. This team was stacked. And let me ask you this. Who dominated the 80s? Who is known for dominating the 80s in the NBA.
Both of these teams.
There's one winner out of this. There is one clear winner out of this.
Ben having a hard time.
Yeah.
All right,
Stacey,
Stacey,
what do you think, Stacey?
7 players average double figures for the Lakers. Just letting you know that 7. Showtime.
Right,
This is easy, Stacey.
All right, so I was going back and forth between these two because both these teams were stacked.
Dang, right.
Man, Celtics, this legendary team right here, Lakers legendary team right here. But I'm going with the Lakers on this one. I'm going with the Lakers. And this is why. Because that year.
This is rigged. We got 2 Lakers fans in here.
No, wait. Look.
Stacey's not a Lakers fan.
In that year,
LeBron fan.
in that year, in the finals, the Lakers year, who they beat in the finals that year?
Come on.
You know who.
But let me ask you this.
He's typing something right now. You can see his fingers working right now.
Let me ask you this. The Celtics beat the Houston Rockets in 1986. The Lakers didn't even make the finals.
They literally went against each other with the same team, man. Who won?
It was a different year. Okay, but the year before, the Lakers didn't even make it to that point. Something to think about.
They was just getting ready.
They was getting ready.
That's not the Celtics team either.
They weren't even good enough to make it to the finals that year.
I hate that.
At least the Celtics made the finals, you know?
I hate that I have to decide this.
Ben, don't let me down. At least put it to a tiebreaker vote.
Don't let it come down to a coin flip. Go ahead, pick the Lakers.
Magic. Who's stopping Kareem?
Come on.
This is a little bit younger Kareem too. Now he's not that old.
Nah, he was pretty old.
Right, he was definitely old. But effective.
Oh man. Okay, Jordan, don't fire me. I'm picking the Lakers.
Moment of silence for the disrespect.
Good job.
There you go, Ben. There you go, Ben.
We need some more Celtics fans in here.
Oh man, you got.
Oh no. Oh no. All right.
That's tough though. Like
that was tough until I looked at that finals.
I'm salty.
Lakers beat the Celtics.
All right. This ain't the end. It's not over. I'm gonna leave it at that. We got the 95-96 Bulls versus the 88-89 Pistons. Ben, do you want to defend your Pistons versus Michael Jordan?
I was gonna say. I mean, I'll say a little bit about the Pistons. Like Isaiah Thomas, the original one, not the short one. You have Bill Laimbeer, Mark Aguirre, guys like that. And this is the Bad Boys Pistons team you love to watch. But at the end of the day, that's the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen Bulls. Nothing to say. Carry on.
All right. So is there any argument in favor of the Pistons?
Yeah, if this was young Jordan, maybe.
Yeah. 95-96 Bulls all the way. But it is a little close because the Bad Boy Pistons are a storied team, but the Bulls you can't beat 72-10 and the championship. You can't beat that.
I agree. All right, our next matchup, we have Ben's 1970-1971 Milwaukee Bucks versus Mike's 05-06 Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
Mike, tell me about the Heat.
Well, what can I say? Lonzo Mourning, Shaq, Gary Payton, maybe a guy, D Wade, young D Wade, Flash. I think he put together one of the best finals we had seen since Jordan that year. I like this team. I think they'll be able to. Who was it? 70-71?
Correct.
You said? $7 Bucks?
Yeah.
Kareem's there, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you got Mourning and you got Shaq. You got enough bodies to throw at him, But that's young Kareem, so that'd be like the only hiccup there. But I think this team has a lot of scoring, a lot of veterans. I don't know. I think they put up a good challenge.
All right, Ben, I think you're the underdog in this one, so convince me otherwise. Tell me about the Bucks.
something that we didn't get to say, that I didn't get to say about that Heat team the last time we talked about them was that I was looking at a list of highest or lowest supporting cast score, so take the total score from the supporting cast on an NBA team, a finals champion NBA team, all time, and the 05-06 Heat is third overall. So they were scoring. Yeah, so they were scoring.
Dwayne Wade did everything, right?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. D Wade did everything. Shaq was slightly past his prime at that point, not doing Lakers or Magic Shaq things when he was with the Heat. Neither was Alonzo Mourning doing all that much. And then if you look at this Bucks team, you have, and I just want to say, I don't remember the exact stat, but the Heat, other than Dwayne Wade, the Heat were scoring around 56 to 58 points per game. But you have Oscar Robertson, Big O, 19.4 points, 8.2 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. And man, you want to talk about young Kareem? We can talk about young Kareem. Listen.
That's a problem.
1970, 1971, and I wasn't prepared for this last time because this team is ancient. So I didn't really know their stats, but I came prepared this time, guys. 31.7 points and 16 rebounds per game. He was shooting 57.7% from the field. And then even outside of those two guys, you had Bob Dandridge, who's averaging around 18, 19 points per game. I just think overall the Bucks were stronger. And I don't know who's stopping. He was averaging. He's a 7'2" center, averaging 31.7 points and 16 rebounds per game.
I don't even think we mentioned Oscar Robertson.
No, yeah, that was like a name throw, but that was it.
I did Oscar Robertson. I don't know. I talked about his stats. It was 19 points, 8.2 assists, 5.7 boards.
Right. Okay.
All right. So let's put it to a vote. Stacey, we'll start with you. Are you taking Kareem in the Bucks or D Wade in the Heat?
If we talking about all-time teams here, it's the Bucks. Clearly, it's the Bucks. Sorry about that, Mike, but I'm going with the Big O and young Kareem. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, Ben, what about you? You taking the Bucks or the Heat?
I'm taking the Bucks. I don't even know if the Heat deserved to be in the second round in the first place.
Oh no,
they played against the 96-97. Oh, I remember that. That was a coin flip, I think, right?
It was a coin flip, and nobody mentioned the stat where the Heat were averaging like 56 points per game outside of D Wade.
All right, so it's 2-0 right now. Mike, are you taking your Heat or Ben's Bucks?
I'm gonna take the Bucks because there's nothing you can do with a young Kareem. This is not young Sprite Shaq, like you said, Ben. So I'm definitely going with the Bucks.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's an age Shaq versus, kind of a prime Kareem and Oscar Robertson. So I think it's kind of done right there.
Yeah.
Let's verify that score, and they are in. So our next matchup. And now on to the second side of the bracket is going to be Stacey's 2012-2013 Heat versus Stacey's 1995-1996 Seattle Supersonics. Stacey, defend both of your teams, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, so the Sonics, they went to the finals, led by Gary Payton, the glove. You got Sean Kemp, Dennis Shrimp. There was a dominant defensive team at this point, very well coached and all that. Unfortunately, they lost in the finals. They're going against a Heat team with LeBron in his prime, perhaps LeBron's best year in the NBA, where he shot, and I repeat, he shot 56.5% from the floor in the regular season. That's unheard of out of a wing player position. And then, you still got Dwayne Wade, give you 20 any night, even though he was on the decline a little bit. Chris Bosh, who people vastly underrate his contributions on his team. Sharpshooter and Ray Allen, who hit that key shot in Game 6 to force a Game 7. Then you still have, the grit and grind players like Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, et cetera, et cetera. So if I had to make a choice, I'm going with the Heat, and this is fairly an easy choice for me, just because LeBron's dominance just is over what the Sonics did in the 95-96 season.
I'd agree. That was a dominant season by the Heat, and for me, it's an easy choice. I'm picking the Heat on this. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with the Heat, even though the Sonics were a great defensive team. Gary Payton's too small to guard headband LeBron. Sean Kemp's probably too slow to guard headband LeBron. Headband LeBron was different. Okay, so I'm definitely going with the Heat in that one.
All right, Ben, are you taking headband LeBron or the Sonics?
I'm taking headband LeBron.
So let me ask you this: if it was headband LeBron and the current Cavaliers versus the 95-96 Sonics, who are you taking?
The current Cavaliers?
With headband LeBron.
I got to take the Supersonics. Because don't forget, headband LeBron had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh next to him.
Right.
Very true. They were a loaded team. All right.
And Ray Allen.
Don't sleep on my guy Ray. All right?
Yeah.
All right, but moving on to the next matchup, we have Mike's 97-98 Utah Jazz. It's my birth year, 1997, versus Ben's 17-18 Warriors. Mike, defend the Jazz.
All I can say is John Stockton and Karl Malone. The only reason they don't have a ring is because of Michael Jordan. That's it. That's all I can give you right there.
All right. Ben, what about you? What do you got to say about your Warriors?
So if all we're doing is naming players, then Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. And then I can go further than that. And you mentioned that they didn't win a ring because of Jordan. The Warriors won a ring. So
yep.
I don't know. The Jazz team is good. Karl Malone and John Stockton.
They're gonna get their stats.
Sec too. But I don't know. That Warriors team is one of the most dominant teams of all time.
Jazz don't have enough scoring.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Warriors were completely dominant that year. No one was stopping them. Stacey, anything you want to add in this matchup, or is it pretty much said and done?
I want to pick the Jazz so bad, but I can't. I can't. Because we do underrate the Jazz during this time.
I think Stacey's a new Jazz fan.
But I give respect where respect is due. They deserve their respect, but not against the Warriors. Not against the Warriors.
All right, so we'll pick the Warriors in that matchup. Move on to the second to last one of the night. We have Ben's 1971-1972 Lakers versus a very similar team to the last matchup, Stacey's 2016-2017 Golden State Warriors. Stacey, I'll let you start it off this time.
Okay, the 17-18 Warriors are moving on. So we got to move on to 16-17 Warriors, who were more dominant than that team. The first year with Kevin Durant, they just had the lead shaking. And versus the Lakers, this Lakers team, with Will Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, I mean, we can't underrate them. It's a tough matchup, especially with Wilt. But again, I'm rolling with the Warriors on this one.
All right, Ben, defend your 71-72 Lakers.
Who's the starting center on that Warriors team? I don't remember.
It doesn't even matter.
Was it Zaza?
Doesn't it though? Zaza, Wilt Chamberlain.
He's averaging 50 on him.
Zaza, Wilt Chamberlain.
Hack him the whole game.
Zaza's known for that. Zaza would just hurt him in the first quarter of the game and say,
That's
"Oops,
fair.
accident."
Even assuming that did happen.
I love how Zaza's actually an argument in this.
Pat Riley, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich. I think this would be a tough matchup for sure. I think this would go 7 games. Especially if Wilt stayed healthy, I feel like. And I don't like that we're really considering the fact that Zaza injuring
No, that's not going into the
Wilt is a real certainty. I think if Wilt stayed healthy, it would be a good 6-7 game series, and I think oh man, that is tough. That is tough.
You want to hear the resident Lakers fans argument first?
Sure.
All right, Mike, defend your Lakers.
I'm taking the Lakers. What you have here, gentlemen, is a classic battle of the backcourt. You have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson versus Jerry West and Gail Goodrich, who were both averaging 25 points a game that year. So that would be there. Then you have Harrison Barnes versus Gail Goodrich. I'm taking Gail Goodrich. Like Ben already pointed out, this is a little bit older Wilt Chamberlain, but he still played 82 games that year. I'm taking he averaged like 14 points and 19 rebounds. I'm taking Wilt at any age over Zaza Pachulia. Look, I know this Warriors team is deep, but this is a classic Lakers team. I'm taking them in 7.
Okay. Ben, do you want to make your choice now after hearing Mike's argument?
Do the right thing.
Yeah, and something that you kind of said, I think Elgin Baylor was a really good player, and I think he's eating Harrison Barnes alive. So not only do they have the center matchup on lock, they have that small forward matchup too. I'm going to take the Lakers, but that's definitely a hard team to go against in that 16-17 Warriors.
Come on now. You telling me Jerry West is checking Steph Curry? Are you telling me that?
Jerry West? I'll take the logo. I'll take the logo.
He checking Steph Curry. You know how shifty Steph Curry.
Now you telling me Steph Curry is guarding Jerry West?
That's what I'm saying. They would be both getting their buckets.
That's why it would be. I think that's why I think the small forward position would be so important, because I think the backcourts would cancel each other out. You know, Jerry West and Gail Goodrich were both averaging 25. We know Steph and Klay can get hot like that, so it would really come down to the pieces around them. And I just think the Lakers have more established star power players there, where it'd be those star power players versus the depth of the Warriors. And you know I'm gonna take the Lakers.
Come on, Kevin Durant, 7 foot,
Mike,
small forward. Come on now. I
was thinking about the 15-16 Warriors. We were talking about Harrison Barnes instead of Kevin Durant.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one.
I think I might have to change my pick.
Wait, 15-16 Warriors.
I mean, if it makes it any
16,
easier, you
16,
guys,
17
I am taking the 16-17 Warriors.
I'm looking at the wrong Warriors. That's
Jerry West can drive to the hoop as many times as he wants. But no one on the Lakers is shooting the deep ball as well as Klay and Thompson. So,
and I don't know if no one's locking down KD either.
Go ahead and change your pick.
Go ahead, edit all that out. I'm taking the Warriors. KD changes everything.
All right, so is it solid 4-0?
No one's stopping KD. It's unanimous.
All right.
I'm looking at the wrong one.
We have our last matchup of the night, who will move on to the third round. We have all right, my computer froze.
2000.
Yeah, 2001 LA Lakers for Ben versus 1993-1994 Houston Rockets for Mike. This is going to be interesting because Mike is going to have to try to argue against the Lakers. So I don't know if he has like a white flag in his pocket that he's just going to pull out just because he's a Lakers fan and can't say anything bad. But Stacey, we're going to start with the middleman here. What do you think about this matchup?
This is tougher than people think. You know, you got Kobe and Shaq, dynamic duo there, especially dominant Shaq. My goodness, unstoppable. But you on the other side, you have Hakeem the Dream, and we all saw what happened when Hakeem went against Shaq. Hakeem got the better of him, but you know, the X factor here between both these teams is Kobe. And I don't think nobody on that Rockets team is stopping Kobe. So I'm going with the 2000-2001 Lakers.
All right, Ben, what are your thoughts?
I think Hakeem, and we ran off his stats and his numbers, whatever, last week. He was doing a lot for sure. Double-double, 27.3 points, 11.9 rebounds. But defensively, he was the defensive player of the year, and he was averaging 3.7 blocks per game. Obviously, it's a tough matchup in Shaq, and prime Shaq, no less. This Rockets team is, I don't know if I can go against that Hakeem, because he was defensive player of the year. He's averaging 3.7 blocks per game. Obviously, double-double, 11.9 rebounds, 27 some odd points. And obviously it's a tough matchup in Shaq. and that's 2001 Shaq. But I think, honestly, Hakeem might get the better of that matchup. And like Stacey said, he did at one point. But who's stopping Kobe? And that's exactly it. You know, you have Vernon Maxwell. You have Kenny the Jet Smith. Yeah, I'll probably take the Lakers there.
Got 2 on the Lakers. Mike, it's up to you.
So I guess Ben pretty much explained everything I have going for me for the Rockets. I mean, Hakeem was, questionable. He's in that conversation of best defensive player of all time. Like you already explained his stats, 3.7 blocks while averaging 27 points a game. But this isn't the same Shaq that he faced in the, 93, 94 Magic. That was a younger Shaq. So I'll give Shaq benefit of the doubt there. I think those two would probably play to a wash. But like you guys said, it comes down to, can these other guys on the Rockets who have mostly role players after Hakeem, Otis Thorpe, Vernon Maxwell, Kenny the Jet Smith, Sam Cassell, Scott Brooks, these guys, who's going to take that challenge of stopping Kobe? Because, Fro Kobe was different. He was still jumping at the gym. So I don't know. I think that may be a big X factor. While the Rockets do have Hakeem, I feel like him and Shaq would probably play to a wash. And then it's a battle really between who's going to step up every night for role players on the Rockets versus Kobe Bryant versus the Lakers role players, which also include Robert Horry and other players like that. So it's tough, but I'm going to go with those Lakers, even though I picked the Rockets.
All right, so it is 3-0. My vote doesn't matter anymore, but I would have picked the Rockets in this matchup. Reason being, Hakeem Olajuwon, something that's often forgot about him is he could shoot the deep ball if he wanted. He shot 42.1%. That's something Shaq wouldn't be able to guard against. The argument where who's going to stop Kobe? Probably no one, but the Rockets will still find a way to score and keep up with them. If Kobe is the only person that can score on those Lakers, it's probably considered a wash in that. I don't know, but I would take the Rockets in this matchup, but it would be close. So, like I said, my vote doesn't matter because it's 3-0. But yeah, the Lakers will take that, and that'll wrap up this round and this episode of the Hoop Life TV podcast. So that is it for now. Until next week, my name is Jordan Daly. With me, I have Mike White, Stacey Collier, and Ben Okazawa. See you guys next week.